the thunder this morning. Did you feel that? Okay. Well, some would say it's weather for two, but I rather say it's weather for planting, depending on what you're planting anyway. I hope you don't plant what you get to reap or sow after 9 months. Okay, Lagos, welcome to the show. My name is Precious Inye. This is the Evening Rush, and this is where some of Nigeria's finest conversation takes place in the evenings like this, right? So, today on the show, by popular demand, we have the fantastic analyst in the building. So, yeah, we know that there's a lot happening, but we want to step down on all of those topical conversations in the newspaper, which isn't quite topical anyway. So we want to take a critical and detailed look at the EU report. And you'd recall that protesters stormed the European Union building, European Union office yesterday in Abuja, protesting, their report of our presidential election. And then there's been also quite a couple of reactions. I did tell you that Dele Alake had told EU that please let Nigerians breathe. It is election we did and it was free and fair and the winner won squarely and fairly. There is no problem. And they also did tell you that. Did I even tell you that one? I think I didn't tell you that part. That Festus Keyamo said, look, as it's got to do with the European observers, they say you were here to be observers, not invigilators, be investigators. Who sent you to come and investigate us? That's it. That's, these are some of the reactions following the EU report. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. But in the building with me this evening is one of Nigeria's finest gentlemen, quite a cerebral fellow, and he's quite vast. And he's been here before. Let me just call him Dr. Deji and end it there before I come and blow too much trumpets like this now. Dr. Deji, good evening and welcome.
Well, good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Nigeria.
Don't give us baritone. I know the weather is warm. Don't give us baritone. It is me. Oh, hello. It's Precious.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Deji. Lagos, let's take a break. I'll be right back to begin to dissect the conversations one at a time. Stay with us. This is the Evening Rush, 90.3, Voice of the People FM. The Evening Rush with Precious, featuring sound and informed guests across various sectors to discuss matters arising on Hot Topic Party.
What was the rate of inflation? And Demi, what was the exchange rate?
Intense conversations.
Doesn't mean he's about to join any party or not. Then who will join the one that will think about
Critical analysis.
What is wrong with us 200 million people? We can't even give ourselves.
We sometimes disagree.
When we say our GDP, it's not an oil-dominated.
To agree.
Like what's going on here?
You caught that again, right?
I saw that.
On Hot Topic Pali, Monday to Friday, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. 90.3. Voice of the People FM. Lagos. Now you have a voice. All right, Lagos, you are welcome back. This is 90.3 Voice of the People FM, the station that gives you a voice indeed to talk and hear. That's exactly what we do. We give you a voice where others wouldn't, right? We ensure that your voice is heard. We ensure that you have a say and your say does actually matter. That's what we do here on the Voice of the People FM. So let's quickly get started with the crux of the matter. So we're looking holistically at the EU report. And I'll just tell you a few headlines that have, made the rounds recently concerning that European Union report based on the observation of our 2023 presidential election. And not just presidential. Remember that it did observe both the presidential and the presidential, National Assembly, the state and houses of assembly elections. So not just the presidential. These are a few headlines, not all of them anyway, that has been making the round following the release of the European Union's report on our election, right? So this says, according to Guardian, it says EU report on 2023 elections. EU report on 2023 elections link Keyamo Fani Kayode to fake news. You may want to read that up too. 2023 polls. EU report sparks fresh controversy. Again, and then this says EU report how Nigerian politicians manipulated 2023 elections. You never finish. We have more news. INEC failed to show evidence of election data deleted from beavers stored on back-end server. This is according to the European Union, and as it's got to do with their report. So you see the headline say, like this. And then, yes, some wiki used denial of campaign venues other restrictive measures to manipulate 2023 election in Rivers State. This is according to the European Union too. And then still about that, the EU report and more headlines coming up from the EU report. Judgment reinstating Ahmed Lawan to Senate. Judgment reinstating Ahmed Lawan to Senate taints Supreme Court's image. That is, he painted it. It destroys Supreme Court image. This again is as reflected in the European Union report. You can see all of those headlines, right? Okay, I didn't make them up. You can go read all of those up. Or you Google them up, right? And then this headline says, President election court admits in evidence EU observers report on Nigeria's 2023 election. This has got to do with the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. And then this says, EU report on 2023 election slams Wiki. They didn't say slappo, it's slam, just so you know. And then after EU report, INEC commences post 2023 election review, gives reasons for keeping mute. Okay, so election finished the first week of March, as they say, and since that time, it is now that INEC, EU released their report on the observation, the experience really observing an election, and it is then now that INEC has started or commenced, or that they commenced, you remember that INEC chairman stated this during at the International Conference Center when some people were rejecting or opposing the results that were announced. And they said, you know what, if you have any complaints, you know that we usually bring out 7 days after the election, we look at, holistically how the election went, to extract everything, we re-examine the elections, we will do that. But then it is now that it's happening. That's basically what that headline says. This is not me saying it, I'm just trying to interpret. And then it says, protesters storm EU office in Abuja, reject jaundiced 2023 election report. So they didn't get jaundice. All right. And then I also did tell you about what Femi Fani-Kayode said, right? He said, you are supposed to observe, not to investigate. That's what Festus Keyamo said. Lagos, I'm going to bring in Dr. Deji to have his say on this. But before that, we're due for a quick break. Let's quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll have Dr. Deji react to them, and then we'll be right back. Lagos, stay with us. This is the Evening Rush 90.3, Voice of the People FM.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less. The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and Coldberry ice cream, delights in every scoop. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and Coldberry ice cream at 11 Road by First Avenue, Festac Town, 28 at Denira Ogusanya Street, Surulere, 13 Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Romeo's Pizza and Coldberry ice cream. Romeo, the pizza champions.
Are you looking for the perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42, Muritala Muhammad International Airport Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in a beautifully appointed rooms featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your everyday need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop-off from the Lagos Airport.
Take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant.
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So, why wait? Book your stay today and experience ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes, you are welcome, Lagos. This is the Evening Rush 90.3 Voice of the People FM, 2 minutes past 7 p.m. right here in our studio. And of course, I did give you, reel out those headlines as related to the European Union report on our election, or based on their observation of our election. But before I even go further with that, let me quickly let you in on this particular report, and this report was out last year, September, right? That is in preparation whilst Nigeria was preparing for the 2023 election. So it says EU budgeted 39 million euros for Nigeria's 2023 elections. And then I quickly read through. It says the European Union has earmarked 39 million euros, that is about 17.94 billion naira, for the conduct of transparent, credible, and inclusive 2023 general elections in Nigeria. The EU budgeted $39 million for this in Nigeria. Now, the EU ambassador of Nigeria and Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, Samuel Isupi, stated this in Maiduguri that, the day before this publication. Now, this electoral, he said, according to him, now quoting him, he said, this electoral project is funded under the EU's Neighborhood Development and International Cooperation Instrument. She further said, adding that it would focus on 6 priority areas identified by the Nigerian government. 1, the priority areas include improving the quality of electoral administration and strengthening of capacity for legislative judicial reforms. Legislative and judicial reforms. Did you hear that? Legislative and judicial reforms. And then 2, the reforms, according to her, are in compliance with democratic principles and standards. They should also explain that the democratic principles will dwell on enhancing pluralism, internal democracy, and equality of opportunity in political parties and party systems. Now, she also said the fund will be invested in civil society organizations to demand greater transparency and accountability in the electoral and decision-making process. So, when a lot of people will say, okay, so what is EU's concern? Why are they, why do they have to even, in fact, let me go to Festus Keyam's, conversation that you're meant to observe and not investigate. They spent money. I think it's pretty much their responsibility to know how the money they spent went. I mean, if you have interest somewhere, shouldn't you know how the money went or how the money, is being expended? Well, that's not for me to say anyway. I've got Dr. Deji in the house. Dr. Deji is one of Nigeria's finest political analysts. By the way, he's a doctor of political science. So he's here with me in the building. Dr. Deji, good evening and good to have you.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's quite a pleasure. No, it's me that should be thanking you for coming. No, you're not. Thanks for having me. So, Dr. Deji, let's have you build up, to why it was important that the EU observe our elections. Then, before we, go to the importance of their reports, if it is even important anyway.
Well, good question. The democracy we practice is a system of government. Before the advent of democracy, there had been different systems of government. Fascism, totalitarianism, authoritarianism, different system of government. They are in their numbers. Democracy is also a system of government. This system of government evolves either by social evolution or by research. Social evolution or by research. Now, there are scholars, there are people, there are institutions that are interested in the growth and development of democracy. So anywhere, any country that is practicing the democracy, they are interested in what is going on in that particular country. Because what's going on in African democracy as a continent, when they get the data, it's easy for them to make a comparative analysis, for them to get the similarities and differences about maybe African democracy and European democracy, so that better theories, better practices, better modus operandi can evolve from there. So that is why observing democracy in other in different countries becomes quite important for the purpose of scholarship, for the purpose of theoretical evolutions. So you see people just like Bill Gates, for example, has interest in polio vaccination, you know,
and then you're wondering, he's not a doctor, he's not a lab scientist, so what is his concern with that? Exactly.
There are also global institutions that specializes in democracy. Some are seeking for a better system of government, while others are seeking for how to strengthen democracy itself. Either ways, whether you are seeking a better system of government or you are seeking to strengthen democracy, you need to leave your comfort zone to observe democratic process and practices across the world. Then another thing is,
and the EU is saddled with that responsibility.
The EU is saddled with the responsibility. It's like an extra responsibility, and it costs them like the
39 million euros.
When you call the amount, I try to press my calculator, and it gives me roughly about 33 billion.
Okay, as at last year, now that was 70 over about 20 billion last year, but now it's about over that. You know, so you know how the dollar skyrocketed.
So if we look at it from the financial angle, if you say EU should not interfere, but you want their money, and it's not only financial intervention. They kind of like assist in the area of training, retraining, technology, advice. Because if we are to use our kind of like orientation and system, we won't go far. So they bring in their technology, like the introduction of the beavers. If Professor Mahmoud Yakub has not sought external intervention, training and retraining, if you had not kind of like seek knowledge about electoral process, how would he have known what Vivas is called? How would he have known how it operates? So it is the help of these institutions, which are mainly located in the Western countries of Europe and America, that helps to strengthen the democracies of the third world, which they see as lagging behind.
But is a democracy or are a democracy, is it really lagging behind?
Well, the truth is, if you look at what democracy should ordinarily be, where our democracy is seriously lagging behind.
But you know how our politicians are quick to say that there is no perfect democracy in the world.
You see,
just like they always say that there is no perfect election.
You see, I don't like when our people use a model to kind of like justify wrong. That there's no perfect democracy in the world doesn't mean you should tread the path of imperfection. You can set an example. It shouldn't be Europe and America that will be setting an example for us. We can as well set the example of a free, fair, and credible election for the Europe and Americas to emulate. So it is not that if you are looking for the best designers, it has to come from Europe and America. If you are looking for the best cars, it has to come from Europe and America. Now, if you are looking for credible democracies. It also has to come from Europe and America. So if you can't develop G-Wagon, Bentley and all that, why can't you at least practice like free and fair election for even the Europeans to emulate? I want to see an election in Nigeria whereby Nigerians will stand tall and be able to speak about the election of Trump versus Biden
and compare
and make a comparison.
So you know that this 2023 election was one election that actually gave a lot of Nigerians hope. In fact, because I'm a journalist and I did interview people and I did hear from people. There are people who said they've never voted all their lives, but because of the advent of beavers and the confidence that the confidence at which INEC spoke preceding the election on the use of beavers, on the direct transmission of results and in real time and all that, people built a lot of confidence in the election. Would you say that this election, or the 2023 election, met that expectation?
Well, the truth is, it didn't meet the expectation.
How so?
But the thing is, we shouldn't write off the election totally because it had its own kind of like advantage in terms of youth participation. We have the not too young to run, that increased youth participation in the electoral process. That's commendable. We also have the introduction of technology, which is largely commendable because technology increases the level of transparency in the electoral system. It gives you confidence that, okay, this is going to work. And that is what transmutes into youth participation, increase in youth participation, because they have something to convince them.
So you think that the advent of technology convinced the youth that this election may just be what they need?
Yes, exactly. Because they are able to kind of like use their lame mindset to kind of like interpret the process that, okay, if we vote and the result is uploaded immediately, and don't forget the test case of Ekiti and Osun. In the case of Ekiti and Osun, people already know the winner even before INEC made the announcement.
Because
and it was so seamless
in real time.
Exactly. And it was so seamless and transparent. So that gave people confidence that, if this works, and you can just log online and be checking results,
the election.
And you are following
it's like the United States election.
Exactly.
You're watching
real time. So people, that increased confidence that, okay, I would participate because my vote will count.
But was that expectation met? That expectation of youth?
The expectation
was it met?
The expectation obviously wasn't met.
Oh wow.
And
why?
The truth is, in Nigeria, we operate this top-bottom approach. There are so many public offices, but the one of the president is a super office. Because if you are the president of Nigeria, you are like a mini god. You can kind of like breach the constitution and there will be no consequence for it because we have weak institutions. So all eyes, both local and international, are on the presidential election based on the fact that we have weak institutions, we have poverty in the system, we have this top-bottom approach. So people focus more on the presidential election. So once the presidential election lacks public trust, it tends to affect the whole.
Trickles down.
Yes, it trickles down to affect other elections. Now, if you look at EU report, the EU report was largely based on the presidential election. Now,
they also mentioned the governorship elections too.
They mentioned the governorship election. Even if you look at the amount of observers, the one that they deployed during the presidential was more than the one they deployed during the governorship election.
Can you tell the reason why that happened?
The reason why that happens is, in a country like Nigeria, the president of the country, like he has all and controls all. If look at the era of Obasanjo, where governors were allegedly impeached by thugs, So, and once anything you do in Nigeria, if you have the backing of the presidency, even if you are charged to court, even if the state has the authority to charge you to court, if the attorney general enter a nolle prosecute, that's the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So the presidential election gathers this attention, this focus, this local and international attention. So being the first election, that's another problem, because it's the election that comes first. So since the uploading of result didn't work, that kind of like make people cast doubt in the process. But it's not the whole process, because that of senatorial election, uploading the result, it worked. The governorship, it worked. But the thing is that the powers that be, the stakeholders, they don't mind losing a state. They don't mind losing 3 states, 10s of states, once they have that office of the presidency. Once they have it in their hands, based on the unitary system we practice, which we call federalism, because Nigerian system is largely unitary. And they know that if they have the office of the president, they have the commander-in-chief as their person, they have control of resources at their disposal, then every other thing comes easy. So that is why it brings a bit clear to mind why the presidential election, why is it not the senatorial? Why it would have been forgivable in the mind of Nigerians if it's the senatorial. Now, it would have been forgivable as well if it is maybe in some part of Nigeria, maybe like 80% were able to be uploaded, just 20%. And I think those that handled that technology and allegedly made it not to work at that particular point in time.
You think they made it not work? They said it was a glitch, even though they're not able to tell us the type of glitch yet.
Well,
so do you believe it was a glitch?
Well, the thing is that some glitch are not explainable, because it is believed that you would have test run, and
there was a test run actually. You know that.
Well, the thing
prior
is,
the election,
we know the way our democracy works. That people are ready to die, they are ready to do anything to get to power or to align with whoever holds the position of authority in this country. And for the presidential election at a crucial time not to work across the country, I think
it was suspicious.
Yes, the powers behind it were not strategic. If they had better advisors or better political strategies, they would have made it maybe to work like maybe 75% and
so
focus on the key areas.
Do you believe, as a political scientist that you are, I'm not even saying analyst, do you believe that there was actually indeed a genuine glitch that would have stopped the direct and immediate transmission of the presidential election, just like the National Assembly were transmitted?
Good question. Brilliant question. Now, normally, technology can fail.
This would have been a yes or no answer, really.
The thing is, well, I don't believe, but
Okay.
I need to just give a bit of explanation.
Okay.
Technology normally can fail. But if I'm to trace Nigeria's political trajectory, what comes with power? How power is acquired?
I wouldn't want us to go through that line.
No,
You said you don't believe as a person. So then it's fine.
Yes,
so
because
based on
of-
your expertise,
Because
as a
of Nigeria's
scientist,
political trajectory, it makes me not to believe that, okay,
Based
it
on
was
your-
technology that failed. I think technology did not fail man. Man failed technology
in this aspect.
in this
Fantastic. It's fine. I'm loving the fact that you had to say it the way it is. Thank you so much, Dr. Deji. So let's dissect some of the statements or issues raised by the EU, which, by the way, a lot of people are already protesting against. The federal government, through its spokesperson, Adele Alaki had said that, I call him spokesperson generally because that's what he is right now, has said that, let Nigerians breathe. The election was won free and fair and squarely, and there is a winner, and we'll have a country to run, he said all of that. And Femi Fani-Kayode said what he said too. And Festus Keyamo said, you guys were supposed to observe the election and not investigate. Why are you guys acting as investigators? And then protesters, as of yesterday, stormed Abuja, the European Union office in Abuja, and saying that, why would you people present such a report about our country's election? You guys want to throw us into anarchy. This is able to, throw Nigeria into anarchy. I like for us to begin to dissect the things that EU said, if perhaps, to get your thought on it. Did they observe keenly, or was it actually politically motivated to throw Nigeria in anarchy? Now, let's take one of the first reports. Here, the EU had said that the Nigerian politicians manipulated 2023 elections. And I just read through a bit what they said verbatim. It said, the elections were marred by orchestrated violence, widely assessed by stakeholders to have been strategically used to subvert the process and manipulate the elections. That is according to the EU report. Then it further says, in both federal and state levels, polls, both federal and state level polls, violence incidents dramatically increased shortly before the election days. Then he also said more than half of the electoral campaigns resulted in fatalities. This is according to the report. Then he says these fatalities were more at the state levels where the politicians could wield unstrained power. Then he says, during the observation period, the EU EOM recorded 101 cases of campaign-related violence, resulting in 74 fatalities. That is, people dying. This is according to the report. It said the majority of recorded incidents were related to the state-level elections. This is according to the European Union report. Now, according to the report, politicians went as far as deploying thugs to obstruct campaign activities, scare supporters, and even hinder voters' participation in the elections in areas they might be disadvantaged. Now, most violence resulted from the deployment of politically sponsored thugs intended to intimidate opponents, obstruct opposition campaign activities, and deter supporters and voters from participation by creating a precarious environment. This is according to the EU report. It mentioned quite a number of states, that this happened, including my dear River State, by the way. So let's have you react to it.
Well, I watched the presentation of the EU report from A to C. And the report has 23 recommendations, out of which 6 are priority recommendations.
I'm even wondering why we never even looked at the recommendations anyway.
The whole presentation itself is very, very apt, very logical. The fact, the reality of what happened during Nigeria's election.
But then why are we protesting?
No, the thing is, because it's politics.
Oh, wow.
Like different interests, they won't let it fly if it goes against their interest.
But if it is the truth, why do we protest against the truth? Since you have said now that it is the truth based on the actual account of incident in the election, if it is the truth, why do we have to protest against the truth?
Well, the thing is, in a country where there's vast unemployment, in a country where politics is not only a means to power, but is a means to affluence and stupendous wealth, politicians will always go the extra mile to kind of like impose their will on the people. So the EU report, it is normal for people to protest. And don't forget, most protests in Nigeria, except the NSAS protest, the first subsidy removal protest
in 2012.
Yes, under
Goodluck Jonathan.
President.
That's a lot
Goodluck
of people.
Jonathan, those two protests, I can say, were not paid protests, because if you look at,
but were they politically motivated anyway?
Well, they are politically motivated, except for the NSAS.
Okay.
The NSAS is an organic protest.
Okay.
But the first subsidy removal under former President Jonathan has political undertone.
Okay.
Well, fortunately or otherwise, the people behind the protest are in power today. And one of the pieces by Ruben Abati, I think first subsidy removal and the God of Jonathan or something, because it is funny how, if you look at how Jonathan increased the price of petrol, the percentage is more than that of Tinubu. Tinubu is one of the mastermind of the protest. Tinubu is in power today. He did the same thing, and everybody is quiet. So like people, that makes some people to question the God of Jonathan. That
the
what
God
kind
of Jonathan,
luck do you have?
Maybe there's, but his name is good luck anyway. His name is good luck anyway.
So now to the EU report.
Okay.
The EU report, it's not just about criticisms. sincerely, because the EU report pointed out that INEC tried in the area of youth participation, registration of more voters, so they give their commendations, and where they observe flaws, they present their recommendation. You see, there's large ignorance in the system. People are reacting as if the EU report is a court judgment. Even if it's a court judgment, you can't even protest against a court judgment. But their reaction is just unnecessary because the EU
What you're saying there, you would rather call the APC because it looks like it's more of the APC protesting now. Because Femi Fani-Kayode, FFK, saying that they failed to stop Tinubu as he rubbishes the EU report and demands that they withdraw the report, that it aims at destroying Nigeria and all of that. Well, so would you rather say it is just a particular group of people?
With profound respect to them, I think they should go beyond playing politics and this "I love you more than God" approach, which when a politician seeks political office, you want to play as if you love that politician more than the God that created him. Festus Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, what an embarrassment, appeared in page 92 of the EU report where he shared false information. For a senior advocate of Nigeria,
and he was named as one of the fake news peddlers.
Yes, as one of the
top fake news peddlers, not just one.
Yes, top
fake news peddlers.
Femi Fani-Kayode leaves much to be desired, and the EU stated, you see, where you expect so much knowledge out of experience, if you don't get it, it's kind of like marvels you. It makes you feel sad.
But he's not nauseating anyway.
Because Festus Keyamo should have known better. Because while doing a content analysis of that report, the EU stated that this their observation and recommendation is based on Nigeria's compliance to regional and international democratic practices. I quote, Nigeria's compliance to regional and international democratic practices, not Nigerians' compliance to constitution. So, like, you see, when the EU comes into a country to observe, these are not charlatans. These are not ragtags. These are people who have built their life over the years. These are institutional and people of repute. These are well-trained scholars. These are not people you can buy. These are not people you can bribe. These are people of integrity. They have their integrity in
observers.
Yes, at stake. And these are people that have been trained over the years. They are not seeking any favor. They will say it the way it is, and they have said it the way it is.
So now that we're demanding for the withdrawal, what happens?
Well, the thing is, Nigeria cannot operate in isolation. And we need to check something. This, if you check Nigerian government over the years, this attitude of it doesn't favor me, it's against me, is so saddening. Because if the EU had come out to say that 2023 election is free, fair, and credible, no glitch, no itches, Nigerian government would have praised the European Union. Why are you kind of like so inconvenient when it doesn't favor you, even if the truth is being said?
Okay.
Sorry. And you see, the president has to be careful of his handlers, most especially his spokesperson, because they have a say in either making or destroying his government. I believe that people at the presidential villa, at least they must have risen through the ranks before getting to that stage. And they should be the best ants in Nigeria, not like the least or incapable ants, because the presidential villa symbolizes Nigerian sovereignty and authority. So any words that come out from there is seen as a word of authority that is being held in high regard. Now, I think it is a mistake for the presidency to have reacted to the EU report. Why did I say so? Now, the EU report basically talks about the conduct of INEC, how INEC conducted the election.
Because they're the electoral body.
Yes, the presidency should have left INEC to react.
And INEC is still mum.
So it is so saddening so unprofessional for the presidency of the country to have come out to take a position. No, let INEC take the position. INEC was the one.
Work.
Yes, okay. INEC was the one that conducted the election. And don't forget, this election is the one that produced your government. So naturally, what are you going to say? In that kind of case, you leave INEC to kind of fulfill his mandate, to defend what he has done, to come out with contrary facts and figures that, okay, the EU, no, you are wrong. For example, if I'm to help INEC, which is not my job, but if I'm to give a point in favor of INEC, it won't be out of place for INEC to come out and look at the spread in terms of the winning in each state. That, okay, if Labour Party could gain ground in a state like Lagos, that is a plus, right? For like Tinubu, the political godfather in Lagos State, since 1999 to have lost Lagos, whether anybody likes it or not, it's a kind of plus that if me as a political scientist, if I'm kind of like being taxed to kind of place an argument in favor of the election, like if I work at INEC, for example, if I'm a political scientist at INEC, those are some of the
use that as your defense.
Those are some of the arguments that you can make to argue empirically.
So you not say that you did your job well. After all, if I did my job so well, even that someone who has so much ground in this area failed election in that ground, in that area.
For an Alex Otti to have won in the East,
also a plus.
So there are some arguments that you can make that at least it can see kind of like, give you some ground, even if not so solid ground, to kind of like place your argument forward positively.
All right.
But for the presidency of the country to now be reacting to the EU report that flawed the election that produced it, the beneficiary of the alleged flawed election is now reacting, condemning the report. It's like 2 divided by 4. It's going to give you 2.
All right. So, Dr. Digi, just before we go for a break, because we're due for one, now, do you agree precisely by what the EU said that Nigerian politicians manipulated the 2023 elections, and that, of course, that election recorded, quite a number of fatalities from the report I read it there? And then he also did say that Nyesom Wike used denial of campaign venues, other restrictive measures to manipulate the 2023 election in Rivers State. That's part of the report. Do you agree with that? Well, let's move on. Is it yes or no? As simple as a yes or no, yes.
It's yes. Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. So let's quickly go on a break. When we come back, Lagos, our phone lines will be open for you to chime in and let's know what you say. We need for you to have your say in this conversation. Just in case you don't have our numbers yet, it is 0700-903-903-903, the direct line. The WhatsApp line for those watching from the diaspora via YouTube, or you want to drop a WhatsApp message, is 0700-903-9039. That is 0700-903-9039. Let's take a breather. Lagos will be right back.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and Coldberry ice cream, delights in every scoop. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and Coldberry ice cream at 11 Road by First Avenue, Festac Town, 28 at Denira Ogusanya Street, Surulere, 13 Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Romeo's Pizza and Coldberry ice cream. Romeo, the pizza champions. Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Are you looking for the perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42, Muritala Muhammad International Airport Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in a beautifully appointed rooms featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your everyday need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop-off from the Lagos Airport.
Take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant.
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So, why wait? Book your stay today and experience ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel. For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
You're welcome back, Lagos. This is the Evening Rush 90.3, Voice of the People FM. From our studio is 22 minutes pursuing the 4 p. Did I say 4? Pursuing the 8 p.m. mark, right? So it's 22 minutes to 8 o'clock. And we've had Dr. Deji in the building. I just like to leave it like that, you know. It sounds more too... Do we need to saw anymore? Just leave it. Dr. Deji Mosh.
Anyone. Deji,
okay.
Omoshola, Deji, whichever.
Okay. No, more like Dr. Deji Mosh, you know. Like that. Okay, so Dr. Ijeoma Egwuatu is one of Nigeria's finest political scientists. For a person to study political science so they can't get doctorate degree inside, you should know that it's not a small thing. All right. So we've been x-raying the EU report and all that. There's been lots of questions. People have been reacting. My phone lines are on fire. They're buzzing. But there was something you said about some of those names that were mentioned as fake news peddlers in the election result. Frankly speaking, before we went on air, you also did admit that indeed the EU was correct by saying that Nigerian politicians and tampered with the elections. Let me read the headlines precisely, that the Nigerian politicians manipulated the 2023 elections, and someone like Wike used all sorts of, measures to deprive his political opponents or to rig the election, more like it. In fact, that headline says, yes, Wike used denial of campaign venues, other restrictive measures to manipulate the 2023 election. You accepted that. But very quickly, there was something you said about, those whose name were involved in the news peddlers list, top news peddlers, according to the EU report. I'd like you to say that again because I was off the microphone. I'd like you to mention that again.
People think that life starts and ends in Nigeria, and the implications of these things. For example, Sheyi Tinubu's popular son, during his father's election, he kind of like operated himself very carefully. His conduct, he was being careful.
Yeah, we didn't see him meddle in any public embarrassing
he is
situation.
one of the major beneficiary of the election, because for you to be the son of the president in any country is a big deal. Son of the president. So Sheyi Tinubu,
we have first lady, we
exactly,
have the first daughter now. We now have the first son of the presidency. So I mean,
like for
it's a
Sheyi
big deal.
Tinubu, his father winning the election is like an oxygen in nostril. Despite that, he operated with reasonable decorum. Festus Keyamo, Tinubu is not related to you. You suffered before the name Festus Keyamo. I've not heard of any Keyamo. For example, if you hear Abiola now,
you know
you've heard of
there's been
Abiola.
other Abiolas,
So
yes.
he is apparently the one that project the name of his family. Now, you suffered to go to school, to go to law school, to win cases, rightly or wrongly, become a senior advocate, and you mortgage that for the election of somebody that at the end of the day, he may decide not to give you anything, just one lyrics from his political boys, the likes of Femi Gbajabiamila, Sanwo-Olu, Dele Alake, just one lyrics. That Oga, no appoint him. You see what he do, Buhari. Buhari appointed him, and when Buhari was leaving office, he came out openly to criticize Buhari's that Minister of State, there shouldn't be office for Minister of State. Oga, if you appoint him, he may do that to you too. That's the end. They've given Oga a reasonable reason why he shouldn't appoint you. So when you go there, when you mortgage your future, the EU report, European Union comprises of 27 countries. And that's why I said from the beginning that people believe that life starts and ends in Nigeria. Each country, those 27 countries in Europe,
Each of the 27
countries will receive a copy of the report. So in other words, Mr. Festus Keyamo, your name is in the State House, page 92 of Nigeria's 2023 election report as observed by the European Union in each country.
27
because
countries.
they will receive a copy. So if they receive the copy, your name is circulated, page 92. Tinubu is not your father. You are not related to him. Why are you using the I love you more than God approach? What's your problem? Do you love Tinubu? Sorry, just a moment. Do you love Tinubu more than Sheyi? So why is Sheyi not going haywire? So you want to tell me you love Tinubu more than Remi? You loved how many of Tinubu's family do you see operating without decorum? This is the member of they are the utmost beneficiary. So you are mortgage. Now imagine in the future, because every day we make history. Your children will grow up and they will be researching, making history, making research about Nigerian election, and they will see you, their father, which rightly, not wrongly now, because you made a wrong statement. That is the fact. Fani Kayode too made a wrong statement.
So you think the objection of the election results is wrong? Were wrong?
The objection.
Both Femi Fani Kayode and Festus Keyamo. I mean, Festus Keyamo saying that they're supposed to be observers and not investigators, and Femi Fani Kayode saying that they failed to stop Tinubu.
You see,
but that that they should withdraw the report because that is aimed at destroying Nigeria's image. You think those assertions or that stand
now,
is
if you
wrong?
observe, that's why I said I expect more wisdom from these top guys. Sincerely, sometimes I'm disappointed because if you observe, you have to report what you observe. You are observing on behalf of the European Union. You are delegated to observe. Now you have to report, and when you write your report, you come up with recommendations for the government of the country. You observe, and like I said earlier, it is based on Nigeria's commitment to regional and international. So the EU has not crossed its bound. It is not a judgment. It is a report and a recommendation. Moreover, what is said in your EU report is not something we don't know. The EU just help us, people that don't have a voice, they just give them a voice. We all witness this thing.
Oh, so,
during the
so
presidential election.
So
Sorry.
you agreed a totality of the EU report.
Dude, I said I listened and did a content analysis of the presentation. I went on YouTube. It's like over, I think, about 30 minutes video for the presentation. And I listened objectively as a Nigerian, as a political scientist. I listened word for word. In fact, sometimes I need to kind of like, move it back to kind of like hear what the man said again in his presentation. And I was taking note like a student. No, sincerely, I was taking note.
And you agree
like
with every single thing he said.
And I did a critical review of it to kind of like see where to fault the EU. And if I'm to say that, I would say, okay, now there are gains. Like I would have expected the EU to have pointed out the case of Lagos, the case of Alex Otti in terms of the credibility. For example, the guy that won House of Rep against Banky W in Lagos and other episodes, those are
one guy that is quite new. One guy that is quite new took away Ndude Lumelu from.
Those are salient
office.
point. For governor, for example, in Benue State, for an autumn to kind of like lose both senatorial and his governorship.
So they were the gains of the election.
Yes. The EU should have kind of like point out some strategic gains. But they pointed out some in terms of youth participation, in terms of introduction of technology. But sincerely, there are some that are very strategic that
like
would have given, that was kind of like either ignored or overlooked. But to every flaw that was pointed out in that report is the absolute truth.
All right, Dr. Deji, let's go to our messages because my message box is full. My call lines, my phone lines are buzzing like crazy. And this message says, Precious, good evening. If on our like, make on a preach from now till thy kingdom come. I, Ilobwe Chinne, Weke Namdi, Alex Odene, will never ever vote again in my life. In an environment where tricksters, fraudsters, and racketeers are at the helm of affairs. And Nigeria has been wired. I cannot even read it. It says insanity has taken over. We are wasting time thinking the country is working. Nigeria. All right, you said a lot. Let me just take a break. Alex, calm down now. You're vexing, eh? And then this says, in order to strengthen our electoral system, I suggest that collation centers should be abolished completely. They are nothing but waste of resources. Joy sent this message from Abia State. You're a political scientist, and I'm sure you understand what she means by collation centers being abolished, right? And then this says, Precious, a lot is happening in Nigerian politics. My question is, if there was a technical glitch, why announce the results when you know there is a technical glitch? Maybe you would have suspended the results. Then the fact is, politicians have made us, and we don't even know when they are speaking the truth. Again, now they are kicking against EU just because they spoke against their favor. Well, you guys should keep it up. It's not easy for you guys on earth. We in heaven, we're smiling at you. Officials listening from Mercury, Precious, no let earth stress you. Make her come join you for Mercury. Well done. Continue where you did, all right? And then he says, good evening, Precious and Deji. Well done, Dr. Deji. Before election, you appeared on so many TV and radio stations campaigning against Tinubu. You have come here again. Welcome, sir. They say you're campaigning against Tinubu. Is it true? All right. Evening, Precious. You see how the man, thank God you're not an Igbo man anyway, because that would have been a disaster. They will say, oh, this station is Igbo station. You always bring Igbo people. All right.
I'll respond to that.
Okay. So this says, good evening, Precious. You see how the man in your studio balanced every issue he discussed. This is the kind of people we are talking about. Thank you for bringing the man. Are you serious? Alex from Apapa says, good evening, Precious. Your guest is good, is good as Mr. Darlington. He spoke well and good analysis too. Well done, sir. Please always bring such people in your studio. I learn a lot from them because one day I will go into politics. I hope that you do. But let's take a few calls so you react to all of them at once. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. God bless you.
Thank you so much. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Nenna.
Hey, Madam Nenna, how are you?
Yes, so I am fine, but hungry.
All right, hungry. It will be well. It will be well with us.
We will be talking. God bless the man you brought.
Okay.
He's just as good as Darlington. God bless you. The truth will set you people free in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you. Go ahead.
And your office is not, your session is not IPOB office.
It's okay. Just go ahead with your contribution.
Because that are saying truth in other stations, I'll be calling them truth because I like truth. Now, that's in February 28th, is it presidential election? I left Badagry. I went there. Do you know the Agberos condoned the street of Iba? They refused us to enter.
They did not let you go and vote?
I let her went to the other side. Yeah? So, come and see. They were breaking bottles. They were breaking people. Some people ran away, ran back. Because there were many people. Despite the money, something, no money. But we had to borrow money, from people and go. Because we wanted changes. Because hungry, we are catching us. No food, no motor, nothing. So, again, what I want to beg the government, anyone that is there, they should put history back to our curriculum for our children. So, all of them, the way they have behaved. Because we must continue. Yes, so God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Nina. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Okay, do have yourself a great weekend. Thank you. All right, Lagos phone lines are still open. Let's continue to take your thoughts, your reactions. 0700-903-903-903. The WhatsApp line, in case you'd like to call us from the WhatsApp number, and you're, especially if you are in the diaspora, is 0700-903-9039. 0700-903-9039. Hello, good evening to you.
Hello, Pre.
Yes, sir.
Obi Daddy calling from Ikeja.
Obianyu. This is Thank God it's Friday.
Yes, thank God, my sister. I greet the guest, though.
Okay, and the guest is greeting you back.
I thank you for bringing another Igbo man today.
Go ahead.
More grease here, Ebo.
Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Has Wike said anything to this report?
He's no longer the governor.
Okay. Because I just want to know. Because you see, the analysts have said when truth is truth, conscience is an open wound, and it's only truth can hear. The analysts have said everything. I don't think we need to talk much. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Did just before we respond to that, let me quickly take this message. This here says, why are they crying foul about the report? All of us were in this country when they perpetrated evil during the election. Precious, the way you ask your guest questions like as if you don't know the truth. Festus Keyamo and FFK are a disgrace to human. Oh wow, no. All because of appointments, they are supporting evil. Kudos to your guest for saying the truth. Senator from Isolo. So I'd like you to react. You wanted to react to something, especially the accusation that you were, you've been campaigning against the president.
Well, I've appeared on different TV stations and radio stations, but what the person that made the comment is absolutely wrong, because I returned to the country, I think maybe 5 days or so to the election. So when
5 days to the election,
yeah,
and campaign ended
exactly.
the day before election.
Like when you just make some irrational statement that I've been on TV campaigning against Tinubu or so, like I'm taking a back.
Are you a Labour Party member? Are you a partisan person?
I'm not a partisan. See.
But are you okay? Are you a PDP member? Do you belong to any political party?
I don't belong to any political party.
So you're saying this in all fairness?
You see,
okay.
This is what,
just so that people understand your stance, so that they don't begin to misinterpret your take.
It will be so disgraceful for me to subject my calling because of a plate of porridge. I'm a political scientist. I trained in 3 continents. I bagged my degrees. I didn't buy it. And Nigeria didn't train me.
And by chance you didn't manipulate. By chance you didn't manipulate your results. I'm just asking.
I was trained by the sweat of my parents and myself. So I don't owe any allegiance to anybody. I say the truth the way it is. Why? Because one day, as we are going in this country, 2 things can happen. Nigeria will either survive it, or, God forbid, the country collapse. Now, if Nigeria survives it, and we are able to emerge as a great nation, tens or hundreds of years later, people will begin to make research. Political scientists, archaeologists, sociologists, social scientists will begin to research about a country called Nigeria, which was once at the brink of collapse, but eventually evolved to become a great nation. In the process of those research, it may be in the next 50 or 100 years. If God willing, I may be alive or not. You may be alive or not. But they'll come across a discussion as this, and they would see us as one of the voice of reasoning, that when Nigeria was at the brink of collapse, because they'll be wondering that, is there no voice at all? Were there no people of reasoning? And if Nigeria was able to survive it and become a great nation, they will count us as one of the voice of reasoning, that when this country was at the brink of collapse, these were one of the voice of reasoning, and now Nigeria is a great nation.
So you're saying
fails,
categorically that you didn't campaign against anyone.
I did
for personal reasons or
I
any
don't need
interest.
to campaign against anybody, because campaign ends if you call. See, the way I speak the truth, even some of my family members warn me that, hey, Nigerians don't like the truth, oh. But some people are just addicted to the truth. There are people like that. It's just like this one of the presenters here that also works in a TV station. This guy Rufai.
Okay, yes.
You know, Rufai is one of the people that, if you look at it, he's just addicted to the truth. If you like slap, if you like beat him, if you like caution him before going on there.
Oh, but many will not be.
He will say the truth one way or the other. So there are people like that, and like I said, I hold no allegiance to anybody because nobody trained me. I was trained with the sweat, my sweat and that of my parents. So I don't hold any allegiance. So I don't need to come here and start saying, you know, the second part, I need to give it for the sake of our listeners. If Nigeria, God forbid, collapse, I've talked about if Nigeria emerge as a great nation. I'm talking about voice of reasoning. Now, why I speak the truth. If Nigeria collapse, years later, archaeologists, sociologists, political scientists, social scientists will begin to make research that there was a country, most populated country in Africa, blessed with human and natural resources. Why did this country collapse? They'll be, in the process of their research, they'll come across writings, videos, things that people have done. And they will come across some of a program like this. That, oh, not that when the country was at the brink of collapse, not that there was no voice of reasoning. There was one on Mosholadeji then. Maybe it may be 2080. They say in 2023, there's one on Mosholadeji, there's one Precious of, VOP. There's one, maybe Rufai Hosseini of Arise, there's this, that were voice of reasoning. But the country collapsed either because the voice of reasoning in the society is lower than the alleged disoriented ones, or the people in position of authority just fail to listen. And one of the voice of reasoning, if God forbid Nigeria collapse, is this EU report. Is a voice of reasoning. Because they will come across it that what, God forbid, if we have a change of government by force, God forbid, they begin to make it that why did Nigerian democracy fail? And in the course of that research, the EU report will come up.
So Dr. DJ, I wanted to ask you a lot of questions.
I'm sorry. I just need to make this statement. I'm always disappointed in people that if you employ someone and you say the person should come to work by 8 o'clock, if the person comes by 8:30, you rebook the person, right? If you send your child to school and that child fails the exam, you rebook your child. But INEC will promise you A, we deliver C, and you say, oh, it's fine, it's okay, let's accept it. There's no perfect election.
Is there a perfect election?
What kind of double standard?
We've been saying that.
Now,
and I've been forced to say that a couple of times. And some of my listeners wanted to eat me alive. So they say there is no perfect election in the world.
There is no perfect election in the world.
Okay.
It's not a criteria for Nigeria's election not to be perfect.
Oh. Dr. Deji, you want to scatter our table lawyer? Let's go back to the phone lines. 0700 Lagos 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. A few calls, then we'll just rush on our commercial break. Hello, good evening to you. Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, please. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Dr. Pastor Harrison.
Doctor, you're welcome. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yes. I don't have much to say because everybody has been saying the same thing over and over. The way you are tackling the gentleman there is terrible. So you take it easy on him because the fact remains the fact. Truth is ever remaining true. The Bible records in the book of Psalm 11 verse 3 that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? That is what we are undergoing. But however, God is always on the throne and he will reign at his accepted and appointed time. God bless you.
Thank you. Well, fortunately, sir, my job is actually to tackle him, to let him talk and, have him have a say. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. All right, Lagos phone lines are still open. 0700 903 903 903. My WhatsApp message. My WhatsApp box is on fire. Dr. DD, I have to see the messages. I hope I can read all of them. I appreciate this, Doctor. But the truth is that the EU didn't say whether the President Tinubu did not win the election. Neither did they say Peter Obi won the election or Atiku won the election. They just pointed the flaws in the election, which cut across all political parties. Please, can you mention all the names mentioned in EU report? Why single out Keyamo and FFK alone? And then he says, he said I should ask my, this is coming from
Wiki.
It's fine, but I can't go mentioning all the names, and that's why you also have Google, darling. You can just check that out there. So because we have very limited time on the show, and then this is coming from Moshe, by the way. He wanted me to ask you about who you think won the election, but I don't know. Would you like to chime in on that, or you just rather differ? It's fine for you to differ.
Well, I differ.
All right, you skip that. All right, then. The dial from Fagba says, good evening, precious. Greetings to Dr. DJ. He's doing it well. The EU observers, civil society, and other bodies has stated that this is the worst elections with vote buying, Agbero intimidation, voter suppression plus violence, with INEC and police conspiracy of giving it to the... All right, thank you, Daya from Fagba. I appreciate your message. And then Simi Sola from Isolo says, precious, our esteemed guest and analyst, I greet you. His presentation is very well put. And however, the response to fuel subsidy removal is not quite, but citizens is not quiet, but citizens already reduced to masses are quietened. Did you get that point? That citizens rather reduced to masses are now quietened. And they said presidency condemning the EU report is true to their type and a confirmation. That is true to their type and a confirmation. I dare say I like his choice of words anyway. And then he says the judiciary is the last hope of to retrieve this country. Thank you. Simisola sends this from Simisola. Would you like to react to that very quickly?
Well, I agree with Simisola that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man, and whether the EU reports have influence on the judiciary, I don't think so. And I think
the EU report also faulted the judiciary.
Exactly. And
then he also did say, I don't know, but then did almost make it look like, well, there isn't much expected from the judiciary based on the kind of judgment emanating from the judiciary so far.
Well,
and giving the precedent of the Ahmed Machina case.
Yes, very valid point. The protest, the woman that addressed the press, I think those that initiated the protest were aggrieved that the EU report were presented by the opposition party at the tribunal. But the fact is, the EU report does not determine the judgment of the tribunal. The judgment at the tribunal will mainly be determined by the hard facts, underline, hard facts, presented by PDP and Labour Party as to why the result of that election
should be disregarded.
So, but the thing is, if the judiciary declares a winner, fine. But if the judiciary calls for a rerun, there are implications.
What are those implications?
One, financial implication. Because
after the amount to spend.
Yes, it costs a lot of money.
And the paucity of fund right now.
Yes, it costs a lot of money to conduct an election across the country. Paucity of fund. Then two, the man that if the judiciary so decide that was wrongly announced, is already in power. So if the judiciary announced the election, does it mean that the Inspector General of Police, who will play a key role in the conduct of the election, will he also go? No.
And then what will happen during that period of preparation for the election?
No, they won't go.
Because they are already sworn in.
So the thing is, the kind of system we practice, whether anybody likes it or not, it's like a fait accompli. Because the man has already appointed people into strategic position, and they are constitutionally appointed, because as at the time where they were appointed, he holds the full authority of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He has full powers, not limited powers. So even if you eventually set the result of the election aside, you won't remove the IG of police. You won't remove the key stakeholder that he has appointed. So even if the election is reconducted, the man is already strategically favored.
So just hold on. Just hang in there again. Why do we need the entire military apparatus, the security apparatus of the country to be in favor of one person for the person to have an upper hand in the election?
Well,
I want to understand. Why can't we have the security agencies just be fair and balanced?
Well,
is this something that is so difficult to happen?
Well, the kind of democracy we practice.
Is it not democracy that we practice? Do we have different types of democracy?
No, the thing is
democracy not democracy?
No. Nigerian democracy is unique in its own way. Sincerely.
So more like Africa, because different from that of other African countries.
If you have a democracy because I remember in 1999, people didn't take this democracy thing serious. They were begging people to contest. Please contest. After 1999, when somebody that is a councillor that can barely feed, by 2003, this person has houses, hotels, cars. Now people are dying to occupy political office, selling their property, taking loans.
So it's like a get-rich-quick thing.
So, and you see, the police, the military are not an isolation of the general Nigerian system. They evolve from the Nigerian state itself. So if you check different sectors of a country and you find corruption there, and you find nepotism there, don't expect that the judiciary or police will be an isolation of that system.
I don't like the fact that we're a reflection, or some people are a reflection of who we are. I really don't like that.
No, the thing is, no.
I don't know. Those are selected few. They don't make up, they don't sum up all of us.
Well, the thing is, in a regimental organization as the police, whereby you take orders. In the army, if your boss tell you go and die, you are expected to salute him and say yes and die.
Let's quickly take this call. Hello, good evening to you.
Yes, Precious. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Prince Akwachi calling from California.
Prince, you're welcome. Go ahead very quickly.
I really want to thank Dr. I want to thank Dr. Dayo for his analysis.
DG. Dr. DG.
However, I want to disagree on the fact that if there's a rerun, he's positioned again to win. Believe you me, no man is God. And if everything being equal, if they allow the beavers to walk, if they allow, instead of Mahmoud, and then they have maybe a retired judge to handle this, believe you me, he will not win. From that, the you as much as they want. At the end of the day, it does not take the fact away from the fact that the election was a sham. And that's all I can say for now. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello. Good evening to you. Hello. Hello. Are you there?
Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening, Precious.
Good
How are you doing today?
Hi, AY. I'm very well. Thank you. How are you, AY? Welcome.
I'm doing very well. I'm so glad you brought the gentleman in, a political scientist. This is very, very good.
Thank you. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yes. The reason why people are going the FFK, the reason why they're going up and down over this report is because it was actually for the first time something that is detailed and something that you can go paragraph by paragraph and you can mention what exactly it is there. You don't want people to see the results of this report. That's why they're going around about it. Imagine the EU. People are funny, like, so you do not want the EU to say anything, but you can go and beg them hat in hand for their money, but you do not want. That's not the way things work in the Western world. You cannot come and beg me for my money and you turn around and say you don't like what I said. Well, if you didn't like what I said, why did you invite me to come watch? If you didn't like my speech, why will you like my money? He should go and sit down. That SAN, he's dragging the prestige of whatever SAN Sansan, he has dragged it in the mud. Because there's everybody can see he's a fake news peddler. Why are we talking about what he has to say? The man does not have any integrity. He cross carpets. We all know the kind of person he is. He's not a serious person. What is, however, serious is this report, though. Because I actually, watched the video like your guest said. And if you watch the video, all you need to do is jot down some things. And I've jotted down a few and I would like to repeat them. In Imo State, 19 INEC staff were kidnapped. In Kogi State, 6 INEC staff were kidnapped. There are reports of journalists also attacked or prevented from performing their duties. This is not me that said it. It's the EU. EU also said, we observe vote buying on behalf of APC and PDP in polling units. They did not mince their words. This also included sharing of goods and monies. And for the one that everybody should be asking, Mahmoud, they said, INEC did not publish how and what they used to calculate and declare the presidential and national assembly winners. Every good citizen in Nigeria will be asking, where are the numbers you used to reach this predetermined outcome? Mahmoud, you spent 60 billion of the country's currency.
No, not 60 billion, my dear.
No, I think
about 300 billion. 300 billion, please. Let's call it what it is. So go ahead.
300 billion. I'm sorry. Imagine. You see, this country, all we know is wuru to the answer. Let's just put anything there. A public institution came out for months detailing, painstakingly detailed the process. This is meant. It's just like somebody came said he wants to make a pudding. It lists step by step of how said pudding will be made. And he brought a dish in front of you and you tasted it and it tastes nothing. It doesn't even taste in the region of pudding. And he gives to you and says, yeah, here's the pudding. And he's telling you he did a good job. My sister, what will you tell such a person after spending 300 billion? There are children that have not eaten today in Nigeria. Our government officials spent 300 billion on a charade. He cannot tell us how 1 + 1 = 2. What kind of country are we living in? Your speaker said something. He said, why will you look at all the other institutions in the country and expect the judiciary and the police to be any different? There is only one law in Nigeria, like I often say, is the law of impunity. The policeman on the street collecting bribe is administrating impunity.
All right, thank you, Dayo. We appreciate you. Did I say Ayo? Please, I beg your pardon. Thank you so much. AY.
Right.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. Hello, good evening.
Hi, Precious.
Hello, good evening. Hi, welcome. What's your name? John, right?
Yeah, John.
Berlin.
Hi, Dr. Deji.
I wanted to be sure I heard the voice right.
Yeah,
Welcome,
evening,
John.
Yeah, hi. Basically, I've just said everything because I was actually Googling it and I wanted to read out exactly what he said. And I would like to ask a question, the impact or, what if. But before I do that, Precious, would like to use the word criticize you by saying that you say you don't like when you said we are the reflection of who we are, something like that.
Yes, I don't.
I think we are.
No,
yeah, I think we are.
It's not all of us.
Wait now. Let me.
No,
Can I
John.
John. Can I give you a social? Can I give you a social?
John.
Wait
Do you
I know. Wait now. Hold on.
Character trait is not a tribal or a race thing. Neither is it religion.
Hold on now. Hold on.
People
I want to give you a social. I want to give you a social experiment.
Everyone there is from behaves the same way.
Wait now. I want to give you a social experiment. You have a social political scientist over there. I was reading a passage on a book, and I don't know, it's a video. A pastor said something. He said, if you will like your child to be like Tinubu in future, I want you to raise up your hand. This is a social experiment too. But a lot of them that were there were supporting him. But they said, if you like your own children to be like him, raise up your hand. Why? Then he said, if you like your children to have, because he's trying to tell them that you are the reflection of who you are. He said, if you like your children to have his character, raise up your hand. Nobody did. But when he mentioned, if you like your child to have the character of P2B, raise up your hand, all of them did. But they were not actually supporting P2B, they were actually supporting Jagaban. I'm just trying to give you what I witnessed with my own eye. That's why I now said, no, we are actually the reflection of who we want to be in that country.
Okay, well,
however,
I think we're mixing stuff up, right? I keep saying, the reason I am arguing this is several guests have come to this show to say that our leaders and our politicians are a reflection of who we are in Nigeria. And I keep saying that is not true. And I will keep saying that. There is no way the politicians that we have represent me, Precious, any of all people. No way. I have my own character.
Right.
You have to start by judging me and testing the integrity of my character first before you want to judge me.
Definitely entitled to your own opinion.
All right, it's
fine.
Ahead.
Yeah, it's. However, I have a question for Dr. JG. Because what EU said is actually a fact finding. Is a fact. However, I see that what the federal government failed to see, it's after listing all they did, they were actually recommendations to prevent some certain things like this. Did the federal government look into that to see how they can rectify some of these issues rather than attacking the EU after collecting this sum of money for the election? My question to you, sir, is in the tribunal and I don't want to be prejudiced in a way. I said, what will be the impact if the judges saw all the facts and noticed that the process in which INEC did their election was invalid, and they now declared, they said Tinubu to carry along? What will be the impact? What is going to happen? What if? And if it happens that P2B actually or Atiku won the election, what's going to be the secondary, steps or the challenges, if possible? Will it step down immediately, or what's going to happen? That's my question. Thank you very much.
Jen. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you.
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good question.
I think that's what's been bothering a lot of the minds anyway.
If the judiciary, in its wisdom, declared that Tinubu is not the winner of the election, immediately that pronouncement is made. It is a judicial pronouncement, and it's at that moment it's a law. So it cannot continue to act. It's it's like a cease and desist order. That cease, desist, like stop and desist.
Stop and move away.
So if a pronouncement is made in favor of maybe Atiku or Peter Obi, it is the duty of the chief judge, the chief justice, or any judicial officer is so appointed to swear.
That is a senior judicial official at that
to
time.
swear whoever is declared the winner in immediately. And
because there can't be vacuum, right?
Yes, and that is why I've said it before that the utmost loser of all this old thing, all this old charade, I love you more than God I put, is the man himself, Tinubu. Do you know why? See, it's not an easy thing psychologically for you to have occupied that kind of exalted position, and you are now, sacked. Why? Not by your own action, but by actions of some people that you did not even send them to take such action.
So let's quickly move to the second question, or the first question. Judge John asked. He did ask that if all of these evidences, including the EU reports that have also been tendered as evidence, and all of these stuffs that the court has seen, and the court goes ahead to say that, you know what, all of this does not matter. He won the election. Let's move ahead. Not trying to be prejudiced, just as I said, because
the truth is that
because the case is still subject.
Yes.
So
the truth is that, well,
that what would that portend
Nigerians
to the politics of Nigeria?
Nigerians may not like to hear this, but it's just the truth. If there are evidences presented and the judiciary says Tinubu should carry on, the simple truth is he will carry on. Why? Why?
Nobody said he will not carry on. We're saying, what will that mean to Nigeria?
What it will mean is that
and our democracy.
Now,
I think that's the question John is asking.
Now,
I hope I read your mind, John.
Yes, it will only mean something if Nigeria are privy to the facts tendered at the court. And that is why
most of the facts have been made public already now, so we already know.
That is why people were clamoring for live broadcast of the proceedings
but you also know that these lawyers have been, having press briefings every day after, almost every day after
the thing is, like, press briefing of what happened in the court is not like you watching live.
Dr. Deji, I would really love you to answer the question. I would really love you to answer the question the way the question is. Are you saying that it wouldn't mean anything to the democracy and to the mind of Nigerians if the court sees all of this, just like John asked? I didn't ask the question, by the way,
what it will lead what it will lead to is if Nigerians are convinced that, this election is not free and fair, the implication is largely political apathy. Like one of
people will boycott politics in Nigeria.
Already before the election, political apathy was starting to fade away with this presidential election. Because during election day, you see people playing ball on the street. So you see people saying they already know who will win. They will announce somebody like, my vote doesn't count. But when INEC introduced technology, people gained confidence in the process.
But that confidence did not reflect in the number of voters. That's the problem. Because even the 2007 election had much more, number of voters than this election that had much more awareness. That's the concern. And that's why a lot of people are wondering, so what happened?
No, the thing is,
what went wrong? We just had about 25 million people out of 90 million registered voters. It's such a pity. Just about 25, the total number of people who voted in this election.
That is
about
why,
25 million. We
are saying the same thing.
It's appalling.
That is why antecedent matters. Now, if we carry out an empirical research, you would discover that apparently the number reduced because in past election, there is a pattern. So there are some people that would have thought that the pattern will follow. What is that pattern? Postponement of election on the eve of the election.
But then this election still had more awareness. People, had people, come out more to say, I'm committed to voting. Do we also attribute this to maybe some of what the EU put down in their report, that voter suppression and all of that may have caused a lot of people,
Absolutely. In Fadeyi talks, street urchins came out with megaphone. In a court, see, I said it that.
So you think that may be the reason why a lot of people did not vote?
The day of the governorship election goes down in history as a day where the sovereignty of a state was released into the hands of political thugs. Because in a country of law and order, you find people coming out with megaphone that if you don't vote this party, don't come out. You find people operating with impunity. That means you have subject the sovereignty of the state on that particular day to political talks. And the implication of that is we don't learn. There's a political dimension to Boko Haram. So in other words, today in our election, police is a stakeholder. INEC is a stakeholder. Judiciary, although it's not supposed to be, is a stakeholder. Political talks are stakeholders. Imagine that. So definitely all these indices whereby talks comes to announce that, oh, if you don't vote, and they are not seeing the institution of an authority of state coming to their rescue, it will lead to a reduction in the number of votes that you will record. It's automatic.
All right, thank you.
And if at the end of the day, if anybody is going to win, let the people win fair and square. If anybody's going to let the person lose fair and square, because if your government suffers legitimacy and there's lack of trust in the institution of state, what happens is whatever that institution do, there will be distrust. And what for INEC, it will lead to humongous political apathy, because I won't be surprised if the trend continues. The number that we record in 2027 may be lower than what we record in 2023 in terms of voter participation. Because you look at it that, okay, what is the cost of me going out to vote versus the cost of me not going out to vote? Now, if you sit down in your sitting room and you think that if you go out to vote, you may be beaten. If you go out to vote, you may lose your life. If you go out to vote, the vote might eventually be disrupted by political talks. Then you begin to weigh the odds. If I sit down at home, okay, I'm more secured. I'll be alive for my kids, for my family. Now, the cost of not participating supersedes that of participating. And because we are humans with rational mind, definitely you want to go for the cost of not participating, because that is what keeps and preserves you, which signifies a failed state. Because the state primarily exists to protect life and property. So in a situation whereby you have to exercise your franchise, because exercising of franchise, right to vote and be voted for, is one of the rare rights left for Nigerians.
All right, so Dr. Deji, we have lots of messages, lots of calls are coming in, and we're due for a break. But let me see if I can run through some messages very quickly before we rush for a break and then come back and get to you. We're supposed to have a step down segment, but the way this conversation is going, looks like we may not have time for that. And this says, Prince Francis Chilaka says, the Nigerian youth stop seeing yourselves as idlers and mere willing tools in the hands of greedy and selfish political leaders. Stop allowing yourselves to be divided along ethnic and religious lines by those who convince to steal and loot our commonwealth. Stop wasting your lives on the forefront of agitation while those who sell such ideas to you live in affluence. The EU report is a document that all youths who truly love this country should reflect upon. That's what he said. And yes, that's what Prince said. And then yes, this says good evening, good afternoon. Okay, it says good evening, Precious. Comrade Peterson says okay, Deji is a Yoruba man by his name. Truth will find your guest in all you do. For all those people perpetrating evil and injustice, posterity will also judge them. Thank God EU has responded to all of them. All right. And then this says, Chris from Ikeja says, good evening everyone, Precious and your guest. The EU report was spot on, but the APC was bent on the fact that the EU report said the election was full of flaws, and there are lots of kudos the EU gave to INEC too. There are so many things said in the report, and everything your guest said is exactly what everyone or Nigerian knows. But we won't stop talking. This is my country, our country, and I want to get better and compete with other nations doing great things out there. We can, and we will. That's what he said. I like the spirit. My name is Dr. Busy. Really, I would never ever vote again in my life. Stop it now, Nigerians. Until when I can use my phone to vote while on my bed. That's another thing. Do you think if we had that kind of electronic voting, it would, go a long way to ease off all of this, stuff? Just a yes or no.
Yes.
All right. Exactly. Thank you. Absolutely. Let's quickly run on a break. Lagos, our phone lines are still open. I see all your reactions from YouTube. Let me quickly call your names. Paulo, KK, Game, Asonye, Gabriel, Mafam, Mariam, Linda, Chinagorum, Destiny. Yes, I see all of you and I appreciate you so much. But let's quickly take a break. I will be right back, Lagos, to take your thoughts and reactions more on this conversation. This is still the Evening Rush. I'll be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42, Muritala Muhammad International Airport Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in a beautifully appointed rooms featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your everyday need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop-off from the Lagos Airport.
Take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant.
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So, why wait? Book your stay today and experience ultimate comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort. The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and cold berry ice cream delights in every scoop. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and cold berry ice cream at 11 Road by First Avenue, First Town, 28 at Denira Ogusanya Street, Surulere, 13 Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. Romeo's Pizza and cold berry ice cream. Romeo, the pizza champions. Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Are you looking for the perfect getaway?
Naija, better drink don land o. Not from Gihog Distilleries Companies Limited, Ghana. But better drink, carry this ogbonge drinks wey dem dey call
Mandigo Bitters and Oga Kwata of them all wey be Herb African Bitters, aka Oga Ato.
Hey, this one na one in town drink wey get natural herbs and other better ingredients wey go give you smooth and unique taste. No be there yet o.
Mandigo Bitters and Oga Kwata of them all wey be Herb African Bitters, aka Oga Ato.
Carry full power chamber wey go help you bring out your strength for people wey wan go extra mile. Na Sony Continental West Africa Limited, the market and distributor. For more inquiry, call 0803-551-9028 or 0813-957-1446. Mandigo Bitters and Herb African Bitters. This one, a new one in town drink.
Lagos, welcome back. Yes, we are back. 90.3 Voice of the People FM, and this is the Evening Rush. So we'll be taking a holistic, analysis of the EU report on the 2023 presidential election, and in fact, the 2023 general elections in Nigeria. And we've looked at it from different angles. And in fact, Dr. DG here would not even let me even go further to break it down. He just says he accepts every single thing the EU report is stating. And we've been taking your thoughts and reactions on it because my phone lines have been on fire. I get to take your thoughts and reactions. But let me see if I can read through some messages on YouTube very quickly. Paul Okeke says, good evening, Pretty Precious. Tinubu and the APC is in panic. That is why they paid APC members to protest at EU office in Abuja. It will shock you that the president may even be unaware that people are going to protest. They are just people who are just men busybodies. There are people who are just normal busy. In fact, I don't want to call it eye service. There are people who are like that.
And the president must be careful of these people because they're only fighting for their pocket and the affluence. If he had lost, 100% of people are with him now. Let's say if he has 100 people with him, if he had lost that election, maybe it's only 10 that will be with him. If he wants to know how, he should go and ask Buhari. Buhari is alone now. People see him as a man of the past.
Oh, it happened to Jonathan
It
too.
happened to Jonathan.
All right. So Asonye Gabriel says, I greet Mr. DG for his apt analysis and insight. This shows there are still voices of reason devoid of ethnic and religious sentiments. And he says, some persons have allowed tribalism to becloud their sense of reason. Mr. DG is a different breed. Kudos to you. And Mafam, I really don't understand the nature of the problem that you have, but it's okay. It's fine. It's fine for you to think the way you think. And your guest is not speaking loud. Apologies. Maybe you didn't hear him. But Chinagrom Destiny says many could not get their PVCs before the election. That's it. So, Dr. Did you just before we'll get back to that. And then QTM Kat Sasha says the leader of a country is an accurate reflection of all citizens of that country. I know agree. No. I know they agree. I know go. There is nothing you tell me. My father is not even a reflection of me. I would not agree. I would not. He is his own person. I am my own person. I am not a reflection of my child. I mean, people have their own mind and they have their own personality. They have their own principles. You will not force me to be what I am not. So, and then this says the leader of, so it now says the leader of the country is a true representation. And I think I have a message in that direction too. And then this says, yes, Precious, please allocate a day to this man the way you do allocate a day to Darlington. And also Rufai Hussaini too. I so much love his analysis, balance in all sides, not like Darlington that's always turned every issue to okay. All right. Thank you so much. So Dr. DG, now, is it a year or in public? Is it a year in it? Is it a year, right?
Yeah,
so the years have it.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I think there's this message I'm looking for that was talking about okay. So this says, Precious, he keeps standing on this baseless stance of self-deceit and denial that the people aren't the reflection of politicians or the police or those on the authority. Where do these people come from? Are they not from Nigerian society? Did they fall from the sky? Do they not everyone although not everyone is corrupt, but wait till they are in positions of authority, your real character would show some way, somehow. Doing certain things you shouldn't do, especially when you are in a position of authority. Like it or deny it, it's the fact. Argue from now till 21,000. I wouldn't change the fact that a lot of people are a reflection of their leader. A lot of people, I could say, but not every one of us. You cannot judge me as a whole. A part is not the same as a whole. I would not agree. But then let me let you, Dr. DG. So, one thing that, was quite more like interesting in this election is the fact that we had a register. This is the biggest voters register Nigeria has ever had. In fact, the INEC chairman Yakubu had said that it's about the biggest voters register in Africa. 93 whole million people plus. Now, it's not even like these are the people who have been able to, we had about 97 million people, right? And then 93 million of them collected their PVCs, even though some others could not collect their PVCs. But we saw, quite a number of interest. But then it's so embarrassing, rather, to see that the sum total of this biggest register that we have in our life or in Africa, we just had about 25 or 20 something million people vote during election. I wanted to say again what could have been the cause, but would I'd outlined it to, or you had mentioned a few things that had happened during the election that may have caused that, that space, that gap, that leakage that we have. So what do we do moving forward? Because we have the register, we have it, even though we know that INEC, needs to constantly update their register to remove those that have died and those that have, not available and all of that. But then what do you think the electoral body needs to do to ensure that we do not have this kind of poor, performance, not performance, poor participation in the electoral elections moving forward?
Well, what the electoral body needs to do that is paramount is transparency. Everything largely revolves around transparency. You will participate in a process when you know you have a fair chance, either as a contestant or an electorate. The way the human minds work, you would participate, you would decide to attend a class. If it's an elective course, you decide to attend that class first out of conviction that you have a fair chance. And that's what happened as regards human participation in election. They first must trust the process. Now, if we look at it, the political apathy is actually larger than what we recorded. I will explain. If you remove those that participated in the election for pecuniary gains, that ordinarily they wouldn't have participated, but because of the 2,000, 5,000, 3,000 that they will give them, out of poverty, they decide to participate. Not out of their will, but poverty drove them to participate. If you remove that figure, if you remove the figure of those that followed this Baba Sokwe, for example, the leader of your community has so many people under him, and he says, oh, go out and vote. You will see yourself as a Shadrach, Meshach, or Abednego, the biblical ones, rebelling against your leader if you didn't come out and vote. If you remove that number. Now, if you now remove the number of those that participated for one reason or the other, you will see that those that genuinely participated are actually much lower. In other words, I can hypothesize that the percentage of political apathy is actually more than what we recorded. If 25 million, for example, voted. Now, if I begin to input those factors, if it's possible for us to do a mixed method research approach to interview them and do the statistics of what made you to vote, and people that say, I voted because they will give me money. If we remove it, and we are looking for the percentage that truly voted because they want to participate and they are convinced that, this is my fundamental human right, I want to participate. If we are able to interview all of them and put it into percentage, you'll be surprised that those that voted out of conviction are way lower. What does that tell us?
No, but in this election, they were actually more. Those that came out, those that were campaigning to vote during this election, those that were convinced to vote, from investigations, right, were very actually in a of large number.
But what this direct and indirect political participation teaches us is that we, the citizens, must not give up.
Right.
Because once you give up, definitely you have empowered people. You see, they're even praying for you to give up. That's the truth. You know, those that don't have alternative address. What do I mean by that? People that they live all their life based on politics, career politicians. They don't pray that you should participate. You participating, you are making things difficult for them.
All right, Lagos, our phone lines are open. Let's go back to taking your thoughts and your reactions.
You don't have to give up.
All right, so Cute Me Cat Sasha says the leader of a country is. Oh, you keep saying that in your saying, and me, I keep not agreeing to what you're saying. So let's just move past it and then go ahead, right? Because we're not going to have a common ground in this conversation. And this says the EU report is like a smoke that will always flush out the truth, or Dabasainting that. And then, okay, I just want to say that Nigerian institutions are so weak that all these obvious truths will still not be investigated and justice served. God help you people in that country. Casey from UAR. Why did you do like this now? All right, so that's what you said. And then what are you saying? Keyamo was one of the spokesman for the presidential campaign, man. It's not doing its job. The news the EU are calling fake news has a link to Festus Keyamo tweet. The news, are you saying he should not defend himself? Always talk another thing. I thought they say you are political analyst. Give us your Twitter handle. Let us investigate right now. Are you serious? Okay. All right. So that's one of the things we go through.
Is the person...
He's talking to you. That the report has versus Keyamo's name in it. So are you saying that he should not say anything because he has his name? Well, he said quite a lot. And he said again that that because he was mentioned as fake news peddler, you know, because of a tweet he tweeted. Well, that's by the way. And then this says, evening precious, you see how a man in your studio... Okay, yeah, I think I've taken this. And then this says, doctor is doing well with his analysis. If patriotic voters give up on voting, voter manipulators will continue to vote and not give up. Ensure your votes count. Shola sent in that message. And all right, Nigeria and God go help us. So that's what this person says. And Emperor says, good and sincere people are born natural and they are always blunt, no matter the circumstances. Truth knows no race, tribe, sex, etc. Big ups to your guests and everyone with a heart of God. Precious love. Big ups to you too. Thank you, Emperor. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And then this says, good evening, Precious. So Dr. Deji has made well presentation and cogent analysis. Okay. Okay, he said, okay. Okay, all right. He said, I have witnessed elections might not be perfect. EU observers is only sending a recommendation. Some can't be satisfied and be pleased with it. Body from a solo sent in that message. And then this message, okay, I think Misola taking your message before. Let others rest now. So he said, judiciary can only make either two decisions so that this country will not go up in flames, even though both are capable of violent provocations. But the future of our country must be the goal. The options, in my opinion, are judiciary should announce the winner. How? 2, maintain the status quo. Please, please plead that Dr. DG to please react to my message. Okay, so that the judiciary has to do 2 things, and either of which will be very, very, will affect our policy in the policy generally. 1, that they should either announce the person who they think won the election by the evidences that they have, or 2, that they should just let the status quo go ahead. But either of which, he says, may throw the country into anarchy. Do you agree?
I think the best is if you look at the cost, and since we can't conduct election without people dying, we don't conduct election without burning properties, I think it would be logical for my Lord Justices to look at the evidence before them. What did you say you would do? Did you do it? You said you won. Yeah, how? Prove it. You said this person doesn't win. Yeah, how?
But you know, you had made a recommendation,
now,
because I hate that we're talking about this.
Sorry,
and the case is sub judice, so we're not supposed to be talking about,
no, we will, like, what we are saying is just like what I said. I said the court should look at it based on fact. That's I don't think that's
talking about a case that is sub judice is like preempting the court. So based on our jobs,
the court is naturally expected to look at the case based on fact. So now I'm not preempting it. I didn't say declare Tinubu or declare
this person the winner.
No, I said the court should look at this case based on fact. But the sad part of the EU report is where the judiciary was mentioned in the negative. Because in a democracy, the judiciary is the last hope. The judiciary is like the solution. When the solution is now seen as a problem, then there's a problem.
A bigger problem.
There's a bigger problem.
All right, so let me run through some more messages. Nemeka says, "Good evening, Madam Host. Thank you for the good work that you're doing. My great to the man in the studio. The truth is bitter, but very good to your soul. The man is true son of the land. May God bless him." And he said a lot of prayers and blessings to you. The caller is a someone said the caller is a bloody liar. How can he say the members of that congregation of how can he say the member of that congregation asked that if your question were that the members of the congregation were supporters of the president Tinubu? Now that's talking about reacting to John and what he said. And then this message is precious. Good evening. My own is that the election in Nigeria is not we can talk about. And I want to ask why the Peace Committee of Nigeria, they have not said anything on this election. All the past leaders have not said anything to tell the same wrong with the or to say what's wrong with the election. If Peace Committee come out like EU and make a report, you will see Nigeria will scrap INEC. I thank God for EU for coming out boldly to give out the report. Now, we are all expecting the Peace Committee to come out too with their report and make some arrest, as it is to tell Nigerians the truth and nothing but the truth, or something like that. That's what Michael from Aswani is saying. And then this says, your real character will show. Okay, I think I've taken this message. It says, my name is Austin from Mafoluku, Shodi, Lagos State. I heard about much of what you are doing. Just keep up the good work. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And Tony says, we are only giving figures not attested for in the previous elections as against the present. Now, the truth is that the highest number in all election still remains the last election. Okay, yeah, because in the other election we had incident forms, we had this form, but the last election revealed a lot of things. We were expecting numbers to come in droves from the north, especially northwest, like it used to come, right? This time around we're like, okay, the highest one I saw from Kano was 1 million plus. We're expecting like 2 or 3 million from Kano State because of the numbers that we see. You see the number of voters, registered voters we see from there, exactly. So he is of the opinion that this is actually the election where that actually had the largest turnover, because this is where we had true people come out to vote and not people that were just filled in by the incident form. That's something he said. And it's something to really ponder on, really. And then this message says, Piva from Charity says, the terrible thing about these leaders is that they fail to understand that all these things they are clamoring for is only temporary. The power, money, wealth, all temporary. It's only for the short lifetime we have on earth. They don't even care how they will be remembered in their future. Who cares anyway? All right. Praise from Ilasa says, good evening, pretty precious Isabella. And in the land of thieves and of the land of election, the destiny of a great national nation rests in the shoulder of the judiciary. Precious, which country is that? I don't know. The day Nigeria will move forward is the day the masses wakes up and talk to in one voice. I beg, give me the step down conversation. I beg. Dr. DJ has gone away with my step down conversation today. He said I should not do it. Oluwa Loni Fixing says, okay, AY from Mushi says, see, precious, the president doesn't care about the court judgment, just like he didn't care about going for an interview during the campaign. Go and write it down. The president, Tinubu, will never leave the power or never leave power, no matter what the judgment says by the tribunal. Baba is very much in power. Can't you see that both the president and APC didn't even present much witness because maybe it didn't really matter to them? They brought in just one witness, precious. If truly they want to defend themselves, will they bring in just one witness? Precious. Shokwe Otilo. What does that mean? Shokwe Otilo. Shokwe Otilo. Shokwe Otilo. What does that mean? So you don't go. Okay. Yeah. All right. This is precious. Baba Deji from Ikwaja. The reason the number of voters reduced is because 1, people were denied of their voters card. That's what this person is saying. 2, people were denied of voting. And he says 3, there are some areas that the election was not even counted at all.
You see, all these.
And then, this says 4, the figures of the voters was reduced to favor a candidate in some areas. And etc. I can mention 10 points. Let's just go to the rest with these ones. My regards to Dr. DJ. After presidential tribunal, there will be an appeal to Supreme Court. Abi? That's what he said. Yeah. And then this says, please always invite this man. Good analysis. Precious, please, can you invite this one next? Calm down now, Dr. DJ. They're making you my man of the event. All right. So let's go back to our phone line 0700 903 903 903. My phone lines are buzzing non-stop. Let's see if we can take in a few calls before we wrap up. Hello, good evening to you. Very quickly, please. What's your name? Where are you calling
Hello,
from?
Good evening.
Thank you.
Pretty Precious.
Yes, please. Thank you. Welcome. What's your name, sir?
My name is K from K2.
K from K2.
Your producer, your producer is not there. You're only the product.
Yeah, so she left the product alone today.
She left the product alone.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I want to thank the guests for candid analysis. But the only thing that when immediately he does such a thing, the next thing they will attribute it to being biased to a particular party. It is just like that. Whether you speak for A, they will say you are for A. You speak against A, they say.
All right, thank you. We really need to run. So
then for the this thing, I want to contribute on the number of voters.
Okay.
The number of voters, to me, I believe that the number people actually came out. People came out to vote. I want to believe that was actually manipulated, reduced.
Right, thank you.
In my polling units, the number of voters were about 1,000, but 200 was actually recorded. So it was reduced. And the previous ones have not been minused. So, and this particular election actually brought out the real number of voters. That is my submission. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So there's this message here that says, this is from Don Bosco Surulere. He says, good evening, Precious. Please, I am very frustrated now because just within a month of the president taking over, it makes things very difficult for Nigerians. Now, I submitted my visa application to the embassy and the accurate proof of fund, but immediately Mr. President announced the Naira policy, and this happened to affect my visa, and I was denied. I said, with this, my heart breaks. Do you think I can possibly forgive the president for this? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And this person has been calling us all day. But if you help me make it 30 seconds. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, very quickly. Your name, where you're calling from. Let's just hear your thoughts.
Okay, this is Hugo.
All right, Hugo, very quickly, please. We're out of time.
Yeah, I want to talk about the what do they call it? The voters card.
All right.
The voters card. Nigeria have killed their post office, and in other places of the world, if you buy anything or you have anything that will be sent to you, it will be sent directly to your house address. House numbering is very, very important in Nigeria.
But the president has said that we'll do census this year. Don't worry.
So they cannot be telling everyone to go to your local government. I was in Lagos for 16 years. I wasted my time going to Surulere post office for more than 50 times. I could not get my voter's card.
Thank you so much.
And that is my local government.
I appreciate you. Dr. DG, your final thought, please. We need to run.
Well, my final thought is you don't have to give up because power in democracy belongs to the people. And at the end of the day, if you give up, those who emerge will not be your choice, and because they are not your choice, they didn't emerge out of your will, they are not liable to bring convenience that democracy is supposed to provide for you to you. That's the truth. So in other words, you don't have to give up. You have to participate. You have to stand by your vote. You have to kind of like make it work. If politicians knows that the result of the election, the voting, will be what will determine whether they will win or not, they will perform. It's just like if Nigerians that they find it hard to read, if they go abroad and there's no way to bribe or
they will read their books.
They read their books. So
all right.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist, and in fact, he's a doctor of political science. So you can hear the way he speaks. Very well said. Thank you so much. You're returning next week, right? It's a yes.
We'll make it
yes.
happen.
It's a yes. All right, Lagos. Follow the station on all her social media handles at VOP FM or VOP 9003 FM or 903 FM. Right. My name is Precious Inyi. Let's do this again next week, starting from Monday. On Instagram, I'm at Precious Inyi Official. Twitter at Precious_Inyi. On Threads, Precious Inyi Official. Let's see you. You had to laugh about that, right? All right, Lagos. I see you on Monday. Have yourself an amazing weekend.